Hi, I'm Proma,
And I'm Radhika,
and
and together,
together we're PromRad.
and we're also national champions, baby.
Yes, right.
Go!
Sorry, we're gonna be insufferable for just a couple minutes. Because yeah, so we're recording this in April for our Q1 favorites of the year so far, but that means that it's also like a couple days after Michigan won the national basketball championship.
It feels so good. Apparently, it's been 37 years. I didn't know.
And in our own lifetime career, it's like the third time we've gone, but
Yeah.
the other two times we didn't make it, and it was like so to get so close and then fail was
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember distinctly we were in college.
we were like on top of the world. I remember that everyone was just like, we're gonna live forever and nothing bad is ever gonna happen to us. And then we lost the championship.
I remember like watching the game because I went to the Chrysler Center and watched it there with like a bunch of people, and because I think it was in Atlanta that year, and so some people had gone.
Yeah. We had classmates who like flew or drove overnight.
I just remember we were all so hyped, and then the come down after that when we did not win was so brutal. I remember we went and got ice cream because we needed something to soothe ourselves. Not feeling that way this time. I'm wearing this jersey that I wore to watch the Final Four and the championship game, so this is now my lucky jersey.
I'm always down if people are like, let's watch the game, let's do the thing. I'm not the one taking the initiative necessarily. So I always, when we're doing well in sports, I always tune in kind of late. But then I have this extreme paranoia of what if now, because I'm paying attention, me, the most important person on the planet, what if now I've jinxed it and now we don't do well? So the final was the only game I watched this whole season. And it was close, so I got to the part and like immediately UConn scored a basket and I was like, oh God, it's happening. It's begun. But it turned out I'm not a jinx, it's okay. I just feel like disbelief because it's again because we did 90% of this emotional journey twice in my adult life. And
Yeah.
then to actually get there, I was like,
I
wow.
think it's also crazy because so Michigan won in football like 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
I think it just feels weird because when we were in school, we were not like we were more of a basketball school, and even then we like couldn't get it done. So it's kind of crazy to like actually get over the hump of winning and like what that euphoria feels like. It's kind of foreign. Like everything that Michigan talks about, like excellence and we're the winningest program and all this stuff, like we did not experience that in undergrad. We had insane pride, but we were not exactly like winning. We were not number one. So it's such a special foreign feeling to be like, okay, we actually did it.
Also, I think because we've gotten older, like most of my friends from college are not local to me. So, like the community aspect of it, feeling that get strong again and like texting my roommates and stuff like that was really exciting because otherwise college feels much more distant. And it is, but it's nice to have something like this to be the cause of reminiscing and going back and like texting people, watching all of the Instagram stories of people who I don't really talk to, but like they're all at the game. And I was like, sending those hearts.
No, literally, I was about to say it was so fun on Instagram because every single story it was like the same three posts that were
Yeah.
being shared by everyone, but I liked every single one of them just because
Yeah,
like
like the composite of the whole team
yeah,
and
I think I
just
posted that one for sure. And then yeah, and then just like seeing Ann Arbor erupt. Which my only thing is I don't recognize Ann Arbor. Like it like seeing Soul Cycle on South U and I was like, where is Charlie's and where is I know Blue Up closed or is closing, so like those markers are yeah, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. We spent far too many a night in Blue Up, RAP forever. Just having those markers like not be visible was disorienting for me.
I hope this is interesting to our listeners. Right after we graduated, they started getting luxury high rises on every corner. And like you shouldn't be in a luxury high rise when you're in college. You should be in a dirty old house where the carpets are older than you are. No, no offense.
Well, this is a hill that I will die on, and I lived on Hill Street, and my house was disgusting, and I would not trade it for the world. It was the
And to
best
the
time
same
ever.
end, like you shouldn't be at Soul Cycle during undergrad. You should be running to class. That's your cardio.
I was talking about this with people recently, and I was like, I think I went to the gym a total of like 4 times, and I lived near the IM building, so it was not far from me. That was not part of my routine in
No.
college. And
You
I,
should be, again, yeah, you should be, if anything, you're running to class or cheering, screaming in a game, and you're drunk while you're doing it. That's,
exactly.
I feel so, like,
Or,
old saying this, but I'm like,
say yeah, we're like the old people, like shaking
Yeah.
our hands.
I'm like, don't drink water until you're 21. Like,
So we're on cloud nine over here. Just apart for everyone watching on video, we are in our Michigan best. This is the Go Blue podcast forever. Okay, enough sports talk. Although I will be revisiting sports in one of my Q1 picks. A little teaser.
me too, I just realized.
So we wanted to talk about our favorite things that we've watched this quarter, like Proma mentioned. As always, there is so much TV, and a lot of it came out in the last 3 months. We've each picked, I think, like four-ish things.
My first one is a little redundant because we talked about it in last week's episode, St. Dennis Medical, and I could talk about it for another hour, day, week. I would, but I won't. I just want to reiterate that show has been in such a good groove. I think the back half in 2026 particularly, in season two. So again, I will recommend that. It's now on Netflix in addition to Peacock. So just get it started. Have a great time. I'm so happy for them, and it got renewed. So
I'm just gonna keep it in the Michigan basketball family. There is a documentary that just premiered on Paramount Plus called Made for March, and it follows our Michigan Wolverines and the Kansas, I don't even know what their mascot is. It's like the Blue Jays or something. It follows those two teams from the Players Era tournament, which I did not know was a thing that happened, through the full season. I really only watched the Michigan aspects of this. I fully forwarded through the Kansas ones because like I really don't care unless it's our team. But I thought it was a really well done documentary for that portion of just like taking you inside the locker rooms, talking to the players, really digging into the mentality of what it takes to perform on that level and compete on that level. And, you know, the coaches are featured, the players are featured. Most notably, our star player, Jax Lendeborg, is the main character, I would say, in the Michigan portions of the show. And he wrote a really great Players Tribune article, which is that site where athletes can write essays about their experience. And he wrote kind of like a tribute to his mom about how she really pushed him, pulled him out of a dark place when he was in high school, and he was literally getting cut from his basketball team for bad grades, and instilled confidence in him again, and has really propelled him to get to this point where he was the Big Ten Player of the Year and just won a championship. And so it kind of expands on that and shows their relationship really beautifully. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with cancer, so it touches on their relationship and how close they are. And it's really beautiful. Like it was
it's just giving so Friday Night Lights.
it really is, and there's a reason why I chose it. But I think if you're a fan of basketball, you will find something interesting out of it. And then, of course, if you're a Michigan or Kansas fan, of course, there's a lot to love in that aspect. So this is like a half recommendation because I only watched really like half of it. I thought it was well done, and I just love behind the scenes stuff that kind of humanizes the players, and you have to remember that they're all like 20 years old with so much pressure on their shoulders. So I thought it was really well done and worth checking out.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna check that out because again, famously not a sports girly, but I support sports. I do genuinely enjoy when like people who are more excited and knowledgeable like explain it to me. I've loved going to every game with like you and with our friends and just be like, "Hey, can you give me the download?" Because I am in the abstract, I'm behind this, but I'm not the expert here, but I want to learn.
Yeah, and as long as you bring that mentality and energy, like it's fun and you don't have to understand what's going on. And honestly, there's very little gameplay shown. Like they show some key moments of key matchups during the season, but a lot of it is just like getting inside their heads and understanding their journey and how these players have formed a brotherhood and that kind of stuff, which again is very Friday Night Lights, like
Yeah.
you said.
You know what's crazy is with basketball, it turns out I'm better at that than I thought. Like, I mean, it's just, I
I
think
remember
it's a
this.
superior
I
sport,
remember
it's easy to follow. But like, we were watching at the bar and we're like all the way at the other side of the bar. You also know that famously I do not have great distance vision, even with corrective lenses. And something happened, I was just like, ah, foul. And like before the announcer then himself was like, and that's a foul, I was like,
Oh
oh
my
no.
God, who is she?
Okay, my next one, still in the sports family, sort of, is the rise and fall of Reggie Dinkins. No, the fall and rise of Reggie Dinkins. My apologies to NBC Universal. The fall and rise of Reggie Dinkins on Peacock, which is from Robert Carlock and Sam Means. Robert Carlock is Tina Fey's producing partner in a ton of stuff. So since 30 Rock era until like Girls Five Ever recently, we've watched the two of them churn out just like great absurd comedies. It stars Tracy Morgan from 30 Rock himself. And then also Daniel Radcliffe having the best time, my weird little friend, just picking interesting, ridiculous projects. And he plays a documentarian. So it's a mockumentary about a documentary in which his character has tracked down this former football superstar, Reggie Dinkins, played by Tracy Morgan, and is tracking like his it's sort of attempted comeback, but just generally trying to rehabilitate his public image because he went down for betting against his own team like years prior.
On air on like Sports Center or something.
Yeah, sorry, I got confused in my head because I watched The Longest Yard like this week, and it's I'm realizing how similar they are. But yeah, it's fun. So it's got like great comedy people, SNL alumni, Bobby Moynihan is in it, and I just love supporting Daniel Radcliffe and everything that he does. It's still pretty early days. I think it's still kind of finding its voice and humor. It's the first mockumentary I want to say that Robert Carlock has done, so it's a little bit different. And also just any sitcom starting out, as we have established many times, it takes some time to get to know everyone. But yeah, I'm having fun. It's like it's a good they're good joke writers. Like it makes me laugh.
This was also on my short list. I think just it coming from the 30 Rock lineage sets it apart because, like you said, the jokes per minute in just the pilot, like the pilot is actually so well done, and you don't often say that about comedy pilots. But the jokes per minute, some of them are ones that you have to think about it for a second and then it hits you, and then you're like, that is hilarious. And I also liked that it's kind of evolving the mockumentary format. I think so many comedies have leaned on that and to great success, and I do like that, but it is getting a little tired, and I like that this is taking a step back and being like, okay, now we include the documentarians in it, and they are characters, and they are like weirdos
Yeah.
also.
And then sometimes they use that footage as documentary footage, but sometimes it's like separately just being collected, which is yeah, I'm curious to see like if and how that's going to come together in something bigger later in the season.
Tracy Morgan is like, I really had to think, was his name, is his real name Tracy Morgan or Tracy Jordan? Because like I get it confused sometimes. He's such a weirdo. Like, and he really fits into these characters so well, and to the point where you could never think of anyone else playing his 30 Rock character. You could never think of anyone else playing this character. And I think it's amazing that he's found these partners that can really write for him and just like let him be absurd in such a hilarious way. I love it. Great pick. I guess I will go to keeping in the old school Harry Potter lane. Our boy Dudley Dursley was in a movie this year. I think it technically came out last year, like on the festival circuit or like smaller indie theaters, but it made more of a wide release earlier this year. So his real name is Harry Melling. He stars in this film called Pillion opposite Alexander Skarsgård. Did you get a chance to check this out?
I didn't. I did. I heard about it because I also just can't avoid like news about Harry Potter. People just like finds me. So
Yeah, it makes sense. It's an interesting premise, and it's a dominant subordinate gay romance. It basically just tracks when they meet through their relationship. Like, Harry Melling's character kind of ingratiates himself into this different type of community and finds community there. What I really liked about it, without giving anything away, is that it really pushed my limits of what I think a romance should be and what I think the character deserves or should want. And at the end, I was like, oh, am I a prude because I don't understand? Like, I didn't understand the appeal of this type of a relationship, even though by the end of it, I was like, I do get it. Like, some people want to feel that way or whatever, but like, really challenged my preconceived notions, and I really appreciated that. And Alexander Skarsgård is incredible. All the different things that he's popping up in this year and last year, he's just got range, and he's got crazy chemistry with Harry Melling, even though they're kind of at odds in a lot of the movie. And Alexander Skarsgård is the Dom, so he's kind of an asshole for a lot of it.
respectfully, I didn't wonder who was the dom.
Fair. But you never know. I thought the chemistry was weirdly hypnotic in a way that I wouldn't have thought that chemistry is a word that I would use for them.
Yeah, because Harry Melling's face has changed a lot. I mean, obviously, since he was a child actor, which is what most people know him from, and he's got so much going on in his eyes. I feel like there's a darkness and a depth that is very exciting for. I didn't know what the movie was actually about, but like I could
Yeah.
see that working so well for this. I mean, Skarsgård has it too. He's played the devil like 4 times.
No, but that's such a good observation without even having seen the movie. His facial expressions convey so much in the movie. And And even like so Skarsgård has a few moments where he lets his guard down finally, and those are such amazing moments of connection for the character, and then it suddenly the wall is up again. And just like the way that they oscillate between that, and they're kind of playing a game of chicken of who's gonna like fold, and am I gonna be able to push you to go past what you are allowing yourself to feel and show that you're feeling. And I don't know, I thought there was so much there and such an interesting premise handled in such a really wonderful way. And I just felt like it changed my perspective a lot by the end of it. If and when that comes to streaming, highly recommend. But also, do not watch this with your parents. There's, I mean, a sub should have said enough, but just in case it was not clear.
Okay, my next one is How to Get to Heaven from Belfast. It's from Lisa McGee, who's the creator of Dairy Girls, which is just one of my beloved. Everyone who has watched Dairy Girls is obsessed with it and loves it. And it's very much in that similar absurdist comedy style, but it's totally different. It's kind of like crime comedy thriller, psychological thriller at points. It's about a group of women who were very close friends when they were teenagers, but they had like a dark secret. But that's not really the point of it. Like I didn't feel like the show was like, let's obscure this mystery and string you along. You find out when you find out, but that's by the time it's answered, that's not your main question anyway. It's very much about the dynamics of these women as adults. They're very, very funny together. It's fun to see grown women get to do that. They're all in their mid-late 30s, I believe, maybe even early 40s. I think the actors are different ages, so it doesn't matter. But like, it's not just a classic show about people in their 20s figuring it out or something like that. You get to see these women who are engaged mothers, people who you can't tell like what their relationship has been like. They've stayed in touch clearly, but it's a different dynamic to see characters portray like someone who was once close to this person and then having to play out falling back into that rhythm and kind of acting like their younger selves together. So that's a really fun aspect of it. They get news in the first episode, three of them, that one of their friends is dead, like the fourth one, and so they go back to the wake and everything, but they're kind of struggling with these complicated feelings about their relationship to her because of the incident. But then they start to suspect that maybe she's not dead and there's some sort of conspiracy, and so the rest of the show is them kind of following that hunch and seeing where it leads them. So I don't want to spoil too much either, but like very bingeable, very fun. I did have to watch it with captions, but I loved what I was hearing still. So it's a good time. There's like some funny weird action and then a Dairy Girls actor making a ridiculous cameo, so it's fun.
That was fun. Yeah, I also had to watch Dairy Girls with subtitles, but that's how it goes. I haven't watched this one. I remember hearing about it and then
Yeah, it's the blessing and the curse of Netflix, where it's like it can be a very big thing, but for like such a brief moment.
yeah, I feel like I didn't hear a ton about it, but this is a good reminder to go back and
Yeah,
watch it. I did. I loved Dairy Girls. Like you said, everyone that watches it is like, this is the best thing ever.
it's
So. Okay, my next one. I have not finished this series. This is my disclaimer, but I have liked what I have seen so far. It's called The New Year's, Los Años Nuevos, because it's a Spanish language show that I think it premiered at the Venice Film Festival, and then it's been streaming on Mubi here in the States. And it stars Iria Del Rio and Francesco Carril, and it's from creators Sarah Cano, Paula Fabra, and Rodrigo Sorogoyen. I really apologize if I mispronounce any of that. So I got a movie subscription like a couple months ago because they were offering some crazy deal. I had a couple things that I knew was streaming on there, so I wanted to check them out. And then this one, I remember a publicist had emailed me about it to cover it back in like December. So I think it started in December and then carried through weekly into this year. So I finally checked it out. Shout out to Steven, the publicist that emailed me about it, for like telling me that it existed. But basically, the premise of it is that it's a 10-episode series. Each episode checks in with this couple on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I think his birthday is New Year's Eve and hers is New Year's Day. And so it starts with the first one where they meet, and then the next one, I think they're dating other people, but they have mutual friends, so they're at the same party. Then the next one, they're like finally together, so you like see the evolution of their relationship. And because you're only checking in with them one day per year, it's interesting the way that they show the growth that is happening off screen for us and happening in between in those like 364 days that we don't see. And it's really slow burn. Like I just liked spending time with them. It's really naturalistic. They are kind of in real time. Like the one where they're together, half of it is like they're in bed and they're deciding what they should do today. One of them has bought like a present for one of them on Facebook Marketplace, so they like, go to go get it. It's very like you're just like hanging out with them. It kind of reminded me of Before Sunset, that walk and talk, and you're just getting to know them and really being in their relationship with them.
Reminds me of, did you ever watch Little Things? It's an Indian Netflix mini series, I want to say. But it was like more like webisode length. I feel like there were short episodes, and yeah, it's just like you're just spending time with this couple doing like very mundane but cute things. I stopped. I watched a few, and I was like, this is hard. Like it's just,
Oh.
and I just like, I can't relate. I can't relate to a lot of stuff I watch. I've never been in a plane crash, and I watch Lost so much, but it like hurt a little.
Yeah.
Because it was done so well, though. Like, I do kind of mean that respectfully, where I watched and I was like, it's such a beautiful portrayal of those little moments in a relationship that I did kind of have to, like,
Yeah.
it was too nice and too real.
I was gonna say that it is hard to like not feel a little like resentful that, it's not our life.
I
But I
didn't
mean,
say resentful, you said
I
resentful.
said resentful. I am saying resentful. Um, but I still enjoy watching these types of things. Like I don't have
Yeah.
that reaction where I'm like I can't see that
I
hurt
watched
like
Little Things when it premiered, which was probably like close to a decade ago, so
yeah.
I would like to think I've grown.
Yeah, and I haven't watched like I said I haven't finished this one, so I'm sure they'll have a fight in one of them or like like they'll have other like conflicts and stuff coming up like
Don't worry, Broma, they're not happy all the
yeah,
time.
they're not. It's not blissful, okay? But I really enjoy, especially the checking in with people over the course of a certain amount of time, like Boyhood. Maybe Richard Linklater is just like my guy.
Yeah.
I really liked that concept because I like seeing the passage of time and what that does to people. And so I responded to this. So maybe not a recommendation for you, but it was very
Oh,
much.
again, I support the culture.
But this was a me pick for sure. Like this, if you had to choose my type of show, like it is something like this for sure.
That is a great transition into my next one, which is not your type of show at all. Sorry to say. Probably through just like Netflix in general, I became aware of something very bad is going to happen as they were kind of ramping up to that release. I downloaded it for my flight thinking that it had like a actor, writer, or someone I know, but I have not since been able to identify who that person is or
The
if that.
two leads, yeah, one of them's from White Lotus, the guy.
But that's not like I feel like it was someone I know personally or like
Oh,
follow or have
you
interviewed or
had like a
something, posted
relationship.
about it, and I was like, oh, they worked on this, so I'll check it out. The show's about a couple, Rachel and Nikki, played by Camilla Morone and Adam DeMarco, and it starts with them like driving to his parents' like nice little house in the country upstate, something like that.
I heard they're in Michigan. Is
They
that true? Confirm or deny?
I don't remember. Michigan came up. Maybe they're up north.
I heard this on another podcast, so I don't know if it's true.
Well, because there's a conversation at one point about driving back to Chicago because that's where they actually live, but everyone's like, "What? That's such a long drive." So if they're in Michigan, they have to be further from where we were.
Maybe it's UP.
It was very like snowy and mountainous and remote. But so they're driving to see his parents, and you can start out with those like little couple moments where they're on their road trip and they're just being comfortable with each other and joking and being at a diner. But then creepy stuff starts to happen. And Rachel herself, they establish pretty early that she has dread and anxiety overall, and that this is just part of their relationship and who she is. And Nikki's aware of that and kind of talking her through it. And she just starts to have this feeling that something very bad is going to happen. And so I'm not necessarily a horror girly. I've gotten way more into it as an adult. It's just, again, honestly, similar to sports. I don't seek it out because I didn't used to really care or be into it. But when I do watch it, I've seen a lot of good stuff that I enjoyed. And I like it. I think I prefer it in the TV format in general because it's kind of comforting to me that way. So I downloaded the first episode to watch on my flight. And then I was so hooked into it that I used the in-flight Wi-Fi to download the rest of it. And they were like, we're only going to have in-flight Wi-Fi while we're over North America. So I'm like, iPad here trying to download, checking the flight tracker up here, being like, okay, we're in Alaska, so I don't have much time left. Downloaded the whole thing, watched the whole thing in one. I actually don't think it was like so amazing. There's some really cool stuff in there. I enjoyed the performances and the stylized way that it was filmed, edited for a lot of it. I liked how some of the pieces came together in the story. But towards the end, the back half, I feel like the writing could have been a little bit tighter and the story could have been tightened up. I'm not sure exactly how necessarily, but was not fully satisfied with that part of it. However, the viewing experience was very fun for me because I can't think of a time, including when it was my job, that I just sat and watched a show all the way through and was just like hooked into it. Like the thing that comes to mind is when you and I watched Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt in 2015. And we just like sat all day and watched it, or like never have I ever during COVID. So very, very rarely do I start something and I'm just like, well, I'm here and this is what I want to do, and here's the next 8 hours.
Yeah, I did that with normal people as well during COVID, and that was not something I would recommend binging, but
That's a cry for help, but that was a tough time.
that was, I mean, we were all crying for help, so.
This may have been a cry for help too. I was very conscious of being on a plane and like it gets quite like bloody in parts, and I was like, who's here? There was a mother next to me and her child on the other side, but they mostly slept. So
I always have that concern when I watch stuff on flights, because mostly it's sex versus like gore. But I'm always like, who's gonna see that I'm watching this, and what are they gonna think about me? Because I am such a people pleaser that I care about these things.
well, and I love to watch what other people are watching on the flight. So I'm like, if anyone here is at all like me, they're looking and they're
They're
like,
looking,
wow, she's
yeah,
messed up.
yeah. Obviously haven't seen this because, like you said, not horror is just not my genre. And mostly because I get scared and I don't want to have nightmares. Surprisingly, though, I have seen a few of those Mike Flanagan TV shows, truly because he cast Zach Gilford from Friday Night Lights, so I watched it.
And a
I'm
lot
so
of his,
different in my reasonings.
some of his haunting ones, they're always just like, and the real haunting was the friends we made along the way. Like,
I actually didn't see Haunting of Hill House, but I saw whatever one Zach Gilford was in. Midnight Mass is the one that I was thinking of.
oh, he's also in, I think he's in House of Usher
I
in this
watched
one
House of Usher
episode.
as well, yeah,
Yeah.
which was cool. And those I wouldn't call horror. They're psychological, like they're in the umbrella, but they're not the type of stuff that I can't handle.
So then I think you could handle this because it's definitely more tense and scary early on, and then it's similar to a Mike Flanagan thing where as it develops, you learn more about what's going on, and then it's less scary in a horror way, or just kind of like, oh no, what's gonna happen? How are we gonna get out of this?
Your setup made it kind of sound like it was like Get Out-ish vibes, but obviously thematically probably not that.
So there
But
is a little bit of that because she's kind of very out of her element with his family. They're like kind of rich old money into their lineage. She arrives at the house and they have this massive portrait, like oil painting or something of all of them. She notes it has been retouched because Nikki's brother got a divorce and remarried, and they redid the painting to put his new wife in there. And then next to Nikki in the painting is an empty chair, and she's like, "Is that where I'm supposed to go?" And the morning of their wedding, she is painted into it on the canvas. So
no. Okay.
yeah, so the family's a little weird. Oh, and Jennifer Jason Leigh plays the mom, and she's nuts.
Yeah. She's always nuts when she pops up, I feel like.
I saw a still of her from it. That's when I was like, this is horror, because I honestly thought she had been like retouched to look scarier, but she's just doing what she's doing with her facial expressions and everything is so she's smiling, but you're like, I am in danger.
A mark of a good actor.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see. I'll watch it during daytime.
Yeah, try like the first one. That's like probably some of the scariest it gets. There's like some jump scares. Because again, I was very conscious watching it on a plane. I was like, I can't be like, ugh.
Yeah. Kind of a pivot then from something bad is going to happen is my next pick, which is Temptation Island, which if you had talked to me 2 weeks ago, it would not be on this list. Not only because I hadn't seen it yet, but like I don't really have high hopes for these Netflix reality dating shows. I really am only watching them because I've been having some writing assignments. This one really surprised me. I think it had a run on like Fox or ABC or one of the networks in the early
I
2000s.
remember seeing ads for it.
Yeah,
And I was
and the
like
premise is,
offended as a teen.
yeah, I was gonna say the premise is shocking in that way. Netflix has just revived it. It's the second season that's on Netflix. And basically, the premise is there's these four couples that come to the island. They all have issues in their relationship that they, for some reason, think that coming to Temptation Island and flirting with other people is gonna solve whatever's going on there. So, like, from the surface, I don't really understand the premise being something that someone would actually believe in. But what really surprised me is the host of the show. It's a guy named Mark L. Wahlberg. Not that Mark Wahlberg, but a Wahlberg without an H in
A
it.
real Michael B. Jordan
Yeah,
situation.
a real Michael. The L is doing a lot of work for him. I guess he hosted the original run, and again, have not seen. And like this is the first time I've ever tuned into this show, so I didn't even really know who he was. I had no context of him. But basically, what happens on this show is men go to one villa with a bunch of single women, and the women go to another one with a bunch of single men. They have these check-ins, I think, weekly, and they call them bonfires. And in the bonfire, they see clips of what their significant other has been up to for the past week. So it's like if someone hooks up with someone, if someone's even just like talking to someone, like what conversations they're having about them. And so they have those played in front of like the other, like, so like the men all see each other's clips or whatever. And then Mark like actually talks to them about it and pushes them to like sit with the feelings, like interpret how they are responding to what they're seeing. Like I remember there was one contestant this season, Mikey, who saw a clip of his girl like hugging a guy and was like getting close to this other guy. He kind of shuts down and he's like, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Like, I don't care or whatever. And Mark is like, no, it's not all good. Like, let's talk about how you're feeling. And like actually pushes him to talk about it to the point where Mikey starts crying. And I mean, Mikey cries a lot on the show, so it's not crazy, but it creates space for that, which I feel like a lot of these shows don't usually do. So I was really taken aback by just the way that he navigates those conversations, and he's really digging deeper, wanting them to address the feelings. Like he is truly playing the therapist role, but not just in a superficial surface level kind of way. He's literally like, does this change how you feel about this? Do you think you're ready for a relationship? Like all these things that are questions that these people should be asking themselves, but probably have not gone to therapy and actually done any of that work, and that's why they're on this show in the first place. But I don't know, I was just shocked that that was what was happening on this show, and I was like, if you're gonna do reality television and have couples come on the show, like this is the way to actually have them talk about what's going on
Yeah,
in their lives.
hopefully improves the circumstances somehow.
Yeah, so shout out to Mark L. Wahlberg, because you're a real one. And I like had many moments where I was like, wow, these aren't lines that are being fed to him, you know, like he's actually sitting there processing what they're seeing, processing how they're reacting to it, and actually helping them move forward. So I don't know, I was really impressed. This pick surprises me more than anyone.
I'm happy for you. Okay, my next one I will also not really say anything about because we did a whole episode on it. But I loved Bait. Go back and listen to our Bait episode if you haven't. It's streaming on Prime Video. Great job, our good friend Riz Ahmed. We don't actually know him, just to clarify, but he feels like a good friend.
To add to that, though, like go listen to his conversation on Hassan Minaj's podcast because they really dig into some of the things that we talked about, which is cool because like I feel like we're in conversation with them. Also, they're just like funny and they have some like fun bits on that show, like on the podcast. I thought it was like a really insightful conversation and like a good companion to watching the show. So,
But our episode first, and then
our
there.
episode first, always, and watch it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the things. Okay, and then my last one is like kind of a cheat because it's an in-person experience that I went to here in LA. It's called Grassroots District, and it is an immersive theater experience where they literally transport you to the 1970s LA. It kind of was like a Daisy Jones and the Six kind of a vibe in terms of like the story is about this band that is going through like interpersonal drama and professional drama of like getting signed to a label and who's getting signed and who's not kind of a thing. And basically like as soon as you step onto the experience, they first of all make you put your phone into like a case so you can't take any videos, of course, but it's also helps you be present. And it's also like in the 1970s, this did not exist. So it's all of those things combined. And quite literally, when we stepped on, I didn't realize that it had started already because there was the bar outside and we weren't inside the actual venue yet. It was a little patio area outside. So me and my friend went, we got a drink, and then this guy came up to us. And the other thing is they encourage you to dress in 70s attire. So everyone there is part of it, you know? So this guy comes up to us and he's like, oh, like, I'm just wondering what brought you here. I'm a journalist, like, covering the band or whatever. And, like, I did not realize that he was an actor, part of the show. So I'm sitting there being like, oh yeah, I also got invited. I'm also a journalist. And like, I was
Oh,
like, we're the same. And then I like later I was like, oh my God, he's part of it. So it was like really cool. And then they take you in and you can choose your own experience basically. So it's like you can go into the main room where the band is starting. You can go upstairs where there's a backstage situation where you see them getting ready to perform. There's a fight that happens in the middle, and especially in that moment, so you can choose to stay and just listen to the music, or you can follow the stuff outside, and there's like a whole thing that happens outside, and then like those people go off into two different directions, so you can like follow who you want to follow. So it's like really like one of the coolest things I've ever gone to. It's called Brassroots District. It's at Catch One on Pico here. And I think they just extended their run. So if anyone here is listening and is in the LA area, like I could not recommend this more highly. Like it was so fun. And I want to go back because I feel like I didn't follow like all of the stories. So I like want to go and like follow a different character through the experience. And it's just cool because they're like interacting with you the whole time. They come up to you and be like, "Oh, who do you know? Like what's your favorite song of them?" And I'm like, I don't know, but they encourage you to interact with people, and just a very cool experience, and like nothing I've ever gone to before.
Yeah,
It was
that
really
sounds
cool.
so cool. All right, I'll buy a flight. Twist my arm.
Yes, come. And they're on Spotify too, and the music is so good, which is so hard to pull off for original songs. So honestly, could not recommend more highly.
Very cool.
Okay, so those were just a smattering of things that we enjoyed this year. I was looking forward to what's coming in Q2, and I got extremely overwhelmed. I made a little list, and I was like, "Oh my God, it just keeps coming."
April alone is stacked.
April alone is stacked. I'm just gonna read from this list. Honestly, most of these are April.
I'm gonna
So
drink water while you do that.
We have Beef season 2. We have Running Point season 2. Mindy Kaling's new show, Not Suitable for Work, is coming in June. The Boys' final season. Dan Levy has a new show called Big Mistakes. There's The Hacks final season. There's a show called The Miniature Wife, which is like the most 30 Rock sounding name
Yeah.
ever. It has Matthew Macfadyen and Elizabeth Banks in it.
Reminds me of that tweet that's like every book is now called Tiny Things We Know to Be Small or The Darkest Wife. They've combined.
Then we have Euphoria, season 3 slash maybe the final season. Margot's Got Money Problems. Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, which has Tatiana Maslany and Jake Johnson. Lord of the Flies, and that is like only a portion because I didn't want to write anything
I
more
added
down.
the only one I added to that is Lord of the Flies because my sick Lost in Yellow Jackets Love and Brain. I mean yours too. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is weird they're doing it, and then I was like, wait, this is actually my kind of show.
And I like Loki really did like that book.
Well,
Like
it is going to
it
be
like opened my brain in high school.
yeah, and it's from Jack Thorne, so I was like, oh, it is going to be brutal, but like that's kind of the point of Lord of the
Yeah. And
Flies.
I think it premiered already in the UK, right? And it's just coming to the US. And then on the movie front, Yumi and Tuscany, which is so up my alley. I love a little rom-com. The Devil Wears Prada 2, which like maybe we'll pot about. Then there's Mother Mary, Riz Ahmed's Hamlet, Is God Is, which I just saw the trailer of for the first time, and it seems wacky, but like that's complimentary. Mandalorian Grogu, that's for you.
I love that little guy. I do.
The Breadwinner, which is Mandy Moore and Nate Bargatze, I think. I go to see movies a lot, so I'm like, I've seen the trailers of a lot of these.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I've fallen off movies in general since like covering TV full time, and so I'm trying to get back.
but yeah, there's more. Like, there's a new Spielberg movie coming out, like Toy Story 5. Like, there's just so much. Like, I kind of felt like Q1 was a little light for me in terms of the stuff that I really responded to. And so let us know if you check out any of these recommendations or if you have stuff that you think that we would really respond to. Put them in the comments.
We mainly did this as a cheat sheet for ourselves for when we do our end of year wrap. We can now refer back to these lists and be like, okay, here's just to remember what we liked when.
No, and I'm still writing down what I watch every single day, but
Same.
so much of it is like I had to watch Age of Attraction for work and I didn't really enjoy that show, like that kind of stuff. So it is nice to have a moment to be spotlighting what actually worked for me. But okay, that's our show. Thank you so much for listening. Watch us on YouTube, Spotify, listen to us on Apple. We're on Instagram and TikTok as well.
Dare I say, go blue.
Go blue forever.
I hate tequila.